I'm Karli Friese. I'm Serena Gasper.
I'm James Simmons.
I'm Anthony Natsiopoulos.
I'm Juan Martinez, and we are auditing the Boeing company. The main purpose of our audit is to issue a report to the audit committee which expresses our opinion on whether the financial statements and internal controls give a true and fair view. Our responsibilities as auditors is to provide an independent audit opinion on the Boeing company's financial statements and internal controls for the year ending December 31st, 2018. The contents of this report include general information which has been prepared by or is based on discussions with management. Management is responsible for the accuracy of financial statements and effectiveness of internal controls. The Boeing Company was founded by William Boeing on July 15, 1960 in Seattle, Washington. The present corporation is a result of a merger of Boeing and McDonnell Douglas on August 1, 1997. Boeing is an American multinational corporation that designs, manufactures, and sells airplanes, rotorcraft, rockets, satellites, and missiles worldwide. The company also provides leasing and product support services. Boeing is among the largest global aircraft manufacturers. It is the 5th largest defense contractor in the world, and it is the largest exporter in the United States by dollar value. Boeing has its corporate headquarters in Chicago, Illinois. It is organized into 5 primary divisions, which include Boeing Commercial Airplanes, Boeing Defense, Space and Security, Engineering, Operations and Technology, Boeing Capital, and Boeing Shared Services Group. The company is led by President and CEO Dennis Muhlenberg, which prior to July 2015, he served as Vice Chairman, President, and COO of Boeing. He joined Boeing in 1985 and spent the first 15 years in the Puget Sound region in Washington State. His education includes earning a bachelor's in aerospace engineering and a master's in aeronautics and astronautics from the University of Washington. Greg Smith has been the CFO since 2011 and is responsible for Boeing's overall financial and strategic management, including the company's financial reporting and long-range business planning. He held a number of positions at Boeing, including Shared Services Group Controller, Shared Services Group Senior Director, Internal Audit, and leadership roles in supply chain, factory operations, and program management. The audit committee is made up of 7 individuals, which include Ronald Williams, who is a financial expert, Lawrence Kellner, Admiral Giambastiani, Susan Schwab, Lynn Good, Robert Bradway, and Caroline Kennedy.
There are 6 entity-level risks that could affect the financial statements. They are mergers and acquisitions. This one is a major risk because Boeing entered into an agreement on April 30th with Kelly Merger Sub Inc. and KLX, pursuant to which Merger Sub will merge with KLX, and KLX will survive as a wholly owned subsidiary of Boeing. Mergers always present a major risk factor, and this one presents more because on June 1 of 2018, a class action suit was filed against KLX, the CEO, and the board of directors, claiming that KLX excluded material information about the merger with Boeing on their proxy statements, thus violating sections 14A and 20A of the 1934 Act. Pension benefits and obligations. Substantial pension and other post-retirement benefit obligations have a material impact on Boeing's earnings, shareholders' equity, and cash flows from operations, and could have significant adverse impacts in future periods. The extent of future contributions depend heavily on market factors such as the discount rate and the actual return on plan assets. Therefore, Boeing is at risk of meeting these benefit obligations in which would greatly affect their financial statements. Fixed price contracts. In 2017, as much as 77% of Boeing's revenues were generated from fixed price contracts. This subjects Boeing to the risk of reduced margins or incurring losses if they are unable to achieve estimated costs and revenues. Foreign exchange risks. Non-U.S. customers account for a significant portion of Boeing's revenue, in which puts them at risk for several reasons. These risks include changes in regulatory requirements, policies, currency exchange rates, and especially volatility in international and political economic environments. Litigation risk. The outcome of litigation and of government inquiries and investigations involving the business is unpredictable and could have a material effect on their financial position and results of operations. Estimates. Boeing uses estimates in accounting for many contracts and programs. Discrepancies in their estimates could adversely affect their future financial results because of the significance of the judgments and estimation processes. Materiality Material different sales and profit amounts could be recorded if they use different assumptions or if the underlying circumstances were to change.
For our planning analytical portion of our audit, we chose to focus on two types of analysis. The first one we did was a 3-year trend analysis where we compared total revenue to total expenses according to Boeing's published consolidated statement of operations. Through this, we learned that Boeing's revenue has constantly increased over the last 3 years. Expenses, on the other hand, decreased from 2016 to 2017 and then increased again in 2018. Overall, this has resulted in an increasing trend for net income, and the main assertions we're concerned with for these accounts, of course, is existence of revenues and completeness of expenses. The second type of analytical procedure we performed was calculating ratios. There was two main concerns with this. The first was the significant increase of debt to equity ratio. It went from a 12.18 to a 29.63. We believe this to be because Boeing issued a large amount of debt, but it's something we definitely need to look into more. The second concern was with return on common equity, in which was significantly larger than Airbus, a major competitor of Boeing. They only have a 33% return on common equity percentage, while Boeing has a really high 139%, so we want to ensure that this is in fact accurate. Overall, these analytical procedures kind of highlighted certain areas in which we want to focus our audit further on.
So for materiality, we have calculated materiality for Boeing to be $645,095,000, which was 5.5% of comprehensive income, net of tax, which was $11,729,000,000. As a publicly traded company, it is already considered high risk, but we do not find any other factors to make the venture appear to be riskier than others in its industry. Boeing has been extremely consistent the past 5 years, and it's one of the most competitive businesses in the aircraft industry. Based on our materiality, almost all accounts have been deemed to be material, except for a current portion of customer financing and deferred income taxes. The next few accounts we deem to be material, and I'm just going to go over our high-risk accounts. So our first account that we saw was high risk, cash and cash equivalents, and we're going to be looking at existence because of the number of accounts that feed into this account. Accounts receivable is also high risk. Again, we're looking at existence to make sure that the accounts actually exist. Investments, another high risk. We're looking at valuation because of market fluctuations. And retained earning is also high risk. Again, we're looking at existence because of the many accounts that feed into it, including revenue and expenses.
For our control risk, we used prior year's assertion from Deloitte to make the basis that it should be low for our accounts. If there's anything that comes up in our pre-planning procedures, we will make sure to document that and change that control risk. But as of now, it looks like it's going to be a low control risk. Some significant disclosures that may be difficult to audit is a change in accounting principle. This change is from in 2018 in a method of accounting for revenue from contracts with customers. This is something that may result in material misstatements, so we want to look into it further to make sure everything was recorded accurately and will not lead to misstatement. Our stock prices have steadily increased. There was a small dip in the past, but things are rising, and this will lead us to continue with our materiality as being a relatively high for our publicly traded company. Some accounting or audit issues for the aerospace and defense industry is compliance with a large set of laws and regulations. This is because of all the laws that are out there for the aerospace and defense industry, and this is just something that we want to ensure that Boeing has documented and complied with. There is also a new revenue recognition rule that is implemented January 2018. We just want to make sure that everything was recorded correctly, and if it wasn't, to take care of it immediately to ensure accuracy, in our opinion. Export and control laws and regulations can cause some material misstatement, and we would want to make sure that everything was complied with in those situations. Also, there's a high exposure to bribery and corruption, and we would want to make sure this risk is not material and ensure that there is no fraud in this area. We have also submitted a flux analysis for you to review on your own time. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them in writing, and we hope that you have found this audit presentation to be helpful in your planning phase.
Our works cited is included in our work papers, so if you have any questions of our sources, please refer to them.